Okay, I think we're live on Facebook and we're also live on YouTube, and we will try to, I guess, go live on Instagram after a while. I want to say this on at the outstart. If you're joining us, I'm coming through audio on Facebook because I have so much difficulty trying to come through with video on Facebook. So we're going to try and start the audio series more like a radio talk show on Facebook and see how well that does. So thank everyone for tuning in. Those who have tuned in and will tune in. Also, we seem to be doing a lot of buffering on YouTube. I thought maybe the broadcast would pick right up, but it's buffering a whole lot, and I don't understand what that's all about. But we're going to still go on with the broadcast, and honestly, just saddened by the fact that freedom of speech is never was free, but it's no longer free at all now because it's regulated with robotic algorithms that can stop your broadcast, can stop what you're saying at an instant. So I would rather just record it and upload it like that than to try to live stream it because it's just aggravating, really, when you have the best software that you can have and you just can't keep buying software trying to keep up with the unfortunately with the way the internet is being regulated and silenced. Uh, um, you just have to try to do the best that you can. So even though it's not coming up on YouTube right now, we'll upload it later on. That's fine. What I'm going to probably do is just stop the well, yeah, let's see. Yeah, what I'm probably going to do is just stop the feed from Facebook and from YouTube and just go ahead with the broadcast, and then we'll upload it later. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Again, if you would like to join up with us, you can join up with us on Facebook at the 19 report, at on YouTube at the 19 report, and you can also join up with us on Facebook at the 19 network. As promised, we would come back to you with another timely topic, and I hope that we will find this information helpful and utilize the information to benefit us and to benefit others. I'm going to go right into the topic today, as promised. This is the word for today, and this is the series that we wanted to start entitled Know the Time. And the subtitle for today is Poison in the Food, Poison in the Water, and Poison in the Soul. So let's get started. I want to start, first of all, in biblical text. Again, many people are going to debate and argue about biblical text, and that's fine. Uh, you can find great value in things if you look hard enough. Anything has great value, and we're going to prove that today. We're going to go straight to Revelation 6 and 8 of the King James Version of the Bible. You can follow along with us. To all of the biblical scholars, again, you can follow along with us as well. This is Jamil Salib Zamir of the 19 Report, and I scratched my nose just now. I forgot I'm live on the air. I apologize. This is Jamil Salib Zamir coming to you live, and we are going to do mostly a radio broadcast as well on YouTube. So we're in Revelation 6 and 8 of the King James Version of the Bible, and it reads as follows. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with swords, with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the field. Behold the pale horse, and death is the rider. Now, I'm beginning to realize firsthand, and I knew it a long time ago, but I guess you just kind of deny things until it comes to fruition. But I'm beginning to realize firsthand the painful journey that is necessary when we decide to seek truth and share the information that we are led to and guided to share with others. Truth will cost you friendships. Destroying lies that have made people millions of dollars will always be a problem. Truth pulls the cover off of falsehood and causes it to vanish, just as darkness is camouflaged by light. In the presence of light, darkness takes a back seat to that. But as soon as the light disappears, the darkness returns. And this is a secret message to those of us who understand light and darkness As soon as the light is turned off, the darkness returns. As the light is turned on, the darkness disappears, but the darkness is still there. So we are living in a time of death and darkness with little sparks of light that we sometimes think that, well, I'm in heaven now because I saw some light. But that's not necessarily so. Now, even on Facebook right now, I'm coming through on the radio side of things, and it is constantly buffering and trying to connect. So listen, it's going to be what it is. As I said before, we try to live stream, but if we can't live stream, then we're going to just come direct and upload the information later on. Now, I'm beginning to realize, as I stated, how difficult it is to just tell truth. Satan's job is to diffuse light. God's job is to distill the darkness with the light of truth. In a satanic world, truth is despised. This is how we know that in this day and time, we are living in a satanic world, because truth is something that is not readily accepted. It is not welcomed, because if you want to be successful in this world and you want to rise to levels that you've never risen before, there has to be some dirt involved with that in most cases, whether it's in the church, whether it's in business, white collar or blue collar, or whether it's in the street, it's all the same. So I want to kind of put a seal on that by going into 2 Timothy 3 of the King James Version of the Bible. And we're going to read this as follows. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall become lovers of their own selves, covetous, boastful, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affections, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those who are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. For such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin, led away with diverse lust, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. Does that sound familiar to you? Always getting degrees and diplomas and awards and rewards, ever learning, but never being able to come to terms with truth. Now, I came on today to share some information with us about items that we purchase because they are inexpensive. You can get them from high-end food stores, or you can get them from low-end chain stores, Walmart, or Dollar Tree, or Dollar General, or Family Dollar. But we must be cautious because the warning is being sent today. So I thank you for tuning in. This is Brother Johnny of the 19 Report, Manning, South Carolina. Please stay with us, and if you find the information to be useful, I hope that you will share the information with others, and I hope you will tag them as we are broadcasting live. And perhaps this information would be of value because our children are at a mental state where they're unable to control their thinking, unable to control their actions, unable to control their desires. And all of this is by design. Now, my disclaimer for this broadcast, look into the information for yourself. What I am attempting to do is to alert and inform. I will no longer do all of the research and take hours to explain what I've researched. If you want to know more, you look it up for yourself. Some articles you will find are for what I am presenting, and some articles you will find are against it. Some will be indecisive, but it's up to you to use precaution in these matters and make information and informed decisions in regards to the information that is given. With that being said, I want us to go online, if you can, to a website called Holistic Health, Holistic Living. Now, this is an article that was written in 2015, and this article is pertaining to items sold in dollar stores. The headline of the article states 81% of dollar store products tested contain chemicals above the legal levels of concern for consumers. And these chemicals are linked to learning disabilities, they are linked to cancer, and they are linked to illnesses in young people and in people who wear these items a lot. They become allergic to them, and they are serious cancer-causing items. So we constantly go to these dollar stores because they are so, what we get so much for the buck. We, I guess, in a sense, don't really pay attention to the ingredients in the items that we buy. So I want to read this real quickly. And again, a disclaimer with this. These claims made by the Health and Holistic Living, they did research the items from different dollar stores, Family Dollar, low-end stores, and found that they are packed with chemicals that causes cancer, memory loss, Alzheimer's, and other diseases. But there is always a counter claim to these results, and that's natural. And so you look up this information for yourself, but I just want to read this part for you. It says, Health Stuff, in collaboration with the Campaign for Healthier Solutions, released a report today, and this is in 2015, about toxic chemicals found in dollar store products. The report, a day late and a dollar short, discount retailers are falling behind on safer chemicals, including testing results for 164 dollar store products such as toys, jewelry, school supplies, and other household items that found over 81%, that's 133 out of 164, are containing at least one hazardous chemical above the level of concern for human consumption or human handling. Now I'm going to read this part, and then we're going to go back into the commentary. The campaign also sent a letter to the CEO of the 4 largest dollar store chains, including Family Dollar. And Family Dollar was tentatively acquired by Dollar Tree on January 22nd of 2015, I think. So they sent this report to Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and 99 cents only, urging them to stop the sales of products with hazardous chemicals to communities of color and low-income families who already live in more polluted areas and food deserts. And what they mean by food deserts is that you can find no healthy food. And we're going to get into that in a minute. These places target ignorant, uninformed, low-income areas to set up shop. In most cases, you will find a Family Dollar, maybe $2 or $3 Generals, and a Dollar Tree within a mile radius of each other, all selling the same items. In Flint, Michigan, children of color, white children, all of the occupants of Flint in a certain area are dying from lead poisoning in the water, contracting diseases from lupus to cancers, all types of growths on the body, memory loss, heavy lead in the brain, in the body, diabetes, strokes, and all of these different things because of the lead content in the water. These same lead contents are being found in dollar store items. Not all of them, as I said. This is not to discourage you from shopping at these places, but to be cautious. You may see me in these places, but I will promise you this, that I read the content, the ingredients, the warnings as much as possible and share that information with others. We are talking about knowing the time, poison in the food, poison in the water, and poisoning the soul, and what happens when the soul dies, that we become walking zombies. Death is the rider on the pale horse, and we are now the riders. We are not only killing ourselves, but we are eager to kill others, and we justify the death and murder and premeditated murder of others with the dollar. So in closing on this subject, food deserts and they adopt policies that will protect both consumers and their business. So they pay for protection against people who may want to file a claim against them for an item that they sell that has caused bodily harm to family members. This is including the foods, stuffs, as well as the materials, the colognes, the hair products, the deodorants, all with a high percentage of lead in them. Now, combined, these discount chains have sales totaling over $36 billion. and operate more stores nationally than Walmart. So they are not going to close down. But we need to become more aware of what's happening and how we can protect ourselves and how we can protect our children more than just uh, thinking that everything will be all right, but making the effort to make things better. Now, I want to take you into another article in the same line as the poisoning of the items in dollar stores. And this is something that was sent to my wife. I'd seen it before, but I didn't really pay attention to it because I didn't think we had any of the items in our home, but we do. And these items are Spice Supreme products. Spice Supreme are sold at low end stores as well. And these are contaminated and contain dangerous cancer causing chemicals like lead and other poisons are in the Supreme Spice products. Now, these items are like your chives and your cayenne peppers. They're usually like $1. Any type of spice, black pepper, anything that you want to purchase in, they're usually in like a little bin or something like that. They're usually 99 cents or $1 or something like that. But they are Supreme Spice products. Now, a California lawsuit alleges high levels of lead in spices manufactured by Spice Supreme and parenting companies, but the data underlying that legal challenge has not been made public because of ongoing lawsuits with the claims. With that being said, err on the side of caution, and if you have these items in your home, it would be best if we got rid of these. And even sometimes when you are purchasing a higher marketed product, they also contain these dangerous chemicals. But the products of the Spice Supreme line they're not saying that it's not true. What they're saying is that the claims, the legal claims and challenges have not yet been made public. So Spice Supreme products containing dangerous cancer-causing chemicals, these things we are feeding to our children, these dollar items that we are giving to our children, they're already fighting with mental illnesses, and we're increasing the possibility of their mental instability by not protecting them when warnings are given. Know the time. Poison food, poison water, poisoning the soul. Now, I realize that there are certain people we have fallen in love with. If I were someone else saying that I were coming on the air to sell you something or tell you something, I would be flooded. Unfortunately, I'm not, but I still have to do this because Allah pulls on my soul to do what I know I'm supposed to do, even when there is no big crowd. No prophet or messenger in the Bible had a crowd of people. Jesus never had a crowd of people following him. Moses and Noah, these mostly family members that followed them. The rest of the people made fun of what they were trying to warn them about what was coming. It's no different in this day and time. We just have fallen in love with people who tell us what we want to hear. So I realize that there are certain people that we've fallen in love with. We fall in love with their persona, and we want them to tell us the things we need to know. And if they don't say it, we'd either don't want to hear it or we'll find a way to make what we are hearing irrelevant. Doesn't pertain to me. The Bible speaks of this as a warning to those who require important information to be delivered by the person of their choosing. Let's turn to Isaiah 30, 8 and 10 of the King James Version of the Bible, and it reads as follows. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for them for the time to come forever and ever. That this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. So we are eager to hear people that tell us that everything is all right no matter who we are, no matter what we do, we're all going to heaven. I had a conversation with a gentleman in Virginia, and the conversation was godly and spiritual and business minded and very on point until he said, you know, nobody goes to hell. You know, everybody going to heaven. That's where it all stopped for me. Because what is the purpose of a person trying to do right if we all go to the same place? This may be so, but I can't carry that thought with me. I know that we have a choice to do right and to do wrong, and whatever that choice is, there is a consequences to that choice. Many say what goes on in the dark will come to the light, or what goes around comes around. This is universal law. We're talking about the poisons in the mind, in the water, in the food, and how it is poisoning the souls of the people for those who have a soul. Satan is after that. And once that is destroyed, it's very difficult to come back from the destruction of the soul. So I want us to go into Proverbs 16, 1 and 6 of the King James Version of the Bible. Again, I'm just brushing over these things because my broadcast used to be 2 hours and 20 minutes and things like that. But I want to narrow those down to less than that because it's not even worth it. We're not listening anyway. You just like it. You don't know what it said. You don't share it. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for those who need to hear it. And it's also unfortunate that a person puts time into a thing that is not appreciated. But let's go into Proverbs 16 and 1 and 6 of the King James Version of the Bible. And it says, the preparations of the heart in man and the answers of the tongue is from the Lord. Study that. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So, many of us debate and argue about devil. If devil had created himself, then devil would be a god. But devil gets his cue from God. God is the creator of right, and God is the allowing factor in wickedness. It says here, the Lord has made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So wickedness has its purpose. It is successful. All people who do evil don't get punished on this side. We don't know what happens on the other side. All people who do wrong, there is no comeuppance for them. Many of them have done evil, and their children are still reaping the rewards from their dirt. Proof positive is slavery, and how the children are reaping the rewards of slavery, and how the slave don't even realize that the children they desire to hang with are living off of their dollar and the blood off the backs of their fathers and their mothers. And even those who realize it would make an excuse for the evil because we are so low in our own self-esteem that we desire to follow someone who has something that we don't have. Brown nosing is what it's called. We're still in Proverbs 5. It says, everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil. Now, who fears God anymore? Very few people have a fear of a God that they will have to contend with for the evils they commit, because we have produced and created a God that allows everything to be okay. We have snatched God from the elevated place and brought him low to match our worldly desires. So we are living in a time of death, and we are riding on the pale horse, and we are death. We are walking through the valley and shadows of death. We are being led to the slaughter, and we are going willingly. Religion, unfortunately, has destroyed the spirit. Mechanics has made us slaves to things. Step 1, step 2 mentality says if you do this, you get this, and it works. So we step on everything and everybody to get what we want. We're talking about the poisons now. We're on that subject. But one of the poisons is the soul. And I wanted to focus on the soul and then get back into what has happened because of the poison in the food, the poison in the water, the poisoning of the soul. Now, I had an associate of mine who is very successful, in my opinion, financially. And he told me in a private conversation that most talented people will never succeed in business because they are making too big of a deal about getting a penis in their rectum. He said in some circles, that is the price, and it's a small price to pay for success. Women give up sex and go home to their husband with a promotion to manager, to president, to vice president, and they forget about what they did to get it because they want it so badly. I am often reminded of our mothers and great grandmothers and grandmothers who worked in the homes of white people, who were molested in the homes by the children, who had to give up sex, who had to become like a prostitute in the homes of these people in order to make a dollar to feed their family. And then they had to come home and act as if though nothing happened. How does that destroy the mind? The teachings of Elijah Muhammad says, and the Bible says, and psychologists and psychiatrists agree. When a person is raped, the only thing that can fix that is counseling and God. So our women and sometimes men are raped in situations that destroy the soul. So the soul is dying. And the scripture states in 1 Timothy 6:10 of the King James Version of the Bible, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Now, we're going to get into that sorrow in a minute. Now, it didn't say money was evil. It said it is the root of premeditated evil. Now we are coming to a close. We're living in a time of the dead. We are spiritually dead and don't even know it. We are being embalmed alive. The level of chemicals that we ingest on a daily basis is by design. It is not a mistake. The recent recall of lettuce, Ritz crackers, goldfish crackers, ground turkey, eggs, and many other items that will surface in the near future aren't just being contaminated. They've been contaminated. They've been contaminated, and it is because of the brave people who test these products and report their findings that we are becoming more and more aware of the magnitude of the poisonings that we are taking into our bodies. Aluminum in the water, lead in the water, aluminum in healthcare products, lead in healthcare products, mercury and aborted fetuses in the vaccinations. They're necessary, the vaccinations, but they are poisoned. Aluminum in the vaccinations that we pump our children full of each year based upon a vaccination schedule. Mental illness on the rise, health issues and deformities on the rise. Where are these things coming from all of a sudden? It's in the food. It's in the water. It is deliberately designed by Satan to destroy any thought that we have of rebelling against wrong. We are being embalmed alive. They're even putting embalming fluid in certain strains of marijuana. I know this for a fact. It was being done when I was on the streets, and that was in the early 90s. Heroin is the prime ingredient in antidepressants. Opioids are being abused at an all-time high because we wake up and go to sleep depressed. We've lied to ourselves and others so long that we don't even know who we are. Sex addicts, sex fiends could care less about where we put what and with whom. And a large majority of people are HIV carriers who don't see themselves as diseased. Still having a sex drive, still wanting to have sex, and still doing it. And not looking sick at all. We've lied to ourselves so long that this is all by design. We've lied to ourselves for so long that we don't even know who we are. Can't even have an honest conversation because we have to cover up so many lies. Now, I want to close with this. I want to go into an article in the New York Post. This is from February 13th of 2018. And this coincides with the poisoning of the food, the poisoning of the water, and the desire to destroy the soul, and why we should know the time in which we live and govern ourselves accordingly. Now, this is an article written by Katie Hill and in the New York Post, and the title of the article is Americans Are More Depressed and Miserable Than Ever. And I want to read probably 3 paragraphs out of this if we can get it up on the screen. This is an article in the New York Post, February 13, 2018. The title, Americans Are More Depressed and Miserable Than Ever. Now, I want to go into some of the statistics of this as proof that it is here, and then we're going to close. It says there's nothing here to smile about. I'm quoting all of this. This is an article originally published by Moneyish. It's an article. It's a publication called Moneyish. It says there's nothing here to smile about. For the first time on record, there was not a single state in America that saw an improvement in its residents' level of overall well-being. According to data released Tuesday from Gallup and digital health company ShareCare, which included 160,000 interviews from residents of all 50 states, well-being, which measures everything from mental, physical, and financial health to having solid relationships and a sense of purpose in your life, is a way of looking at the quality of American life by the well-being of the American people. Furthermore, the 21 U.S. states that saw their well-being dropped in 2017 shattered the previous record set in 2009. Amidst the Great Recession, when 15 states had lower well-being than the years before. Note, Gallup and ShareCare, which began looking into well-being in 2008. This is particularly notable given that Americans' confidence in the economy and perceptions of the job market are substantially better in 2017 than they were in 2009. So even though there is a healthier outlook as to the job market and the economy of Americans, the American people are still highly depressed. It says one thing that is driving down our well-being is our declined mental and emotional health, says Dr. Witter, research director of the Gallup ShareCare Well-Being Index. Read that again. One thing that is driving down our well-being is our declining mental and emotional health. It's an unprecedented worsening. This is nothing like we have ever seen before, says Dr. Witter. And then it goes on, says, indeed, depression levels are the highest we have ever measured. Depression, says Witters. In 2017, nearly 1 in 5, 18% of Americans said they had been professionally diagnosed at some point as being depressed. And the number of people who said they had recently found little interest or pleasure in doing anything increased 7% points from the year prior. I'm going to say that again. The number of people who said they had recently found little interest or pleasure in doing things. I was just talking to my 12-year-old son about his lack of interest in doing quality things. It has declined. So it is in the children. Their minds are dying. They have no desire to do anything of value, with the exception of video games and computers. And they've convinced themselves because they go up on a higher level in the game, they're doing something of value. We did that. My ultimate goal was to beat Mario Brothers, and I did. But at the end of the day, it didn't put any money in my pocket. It didn't do anything but gave me a sense of accomplishment that was worthless. So now, and the numbers of people who said they had recently found little interest or pleasure in doing things increased 7 percentage points from the year prior, meaning that 17 million more people now say this: Plus, our quality of relationships, closeness, has worsened. So we don't even know how to engage in a productive relationship. Marriages, hey, bye. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you eat, you talk about nothing, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work, you come home, you eat, you have sex, talk about nothing, go back to work. Says the relationship closeness has worsened. And then it closes with among the health questions that Americans respond less positively to. Did you experience worry a lot of the day yesterday? How frequently are you bothered with having little interest or pleasure in doing things? Has a doctor or nurse ever told you that you were depressed? This is where we are today. People are responding negatively to things that should excite us. The art of conversation is dead. It's just music, drinking, weed, sex, and vulgarity, and church, and talking about money. But quality conversation is dying. You have to pay for that now. And you're not having conversation. You're paying someone to listen. Because the minute you start talking to your friends and your family, the first thing they're going to say is Jesus will take care of it. And that nulls the conversation. Now, the time, poison food, poison water, and proof the soul is dying. But it is not just mental health that took a hit, says Witter. With the exception of community well-being, all of the national well-being elements, purpose, social, financial, physical, suffered decline in 2017. These declines came despite improvement in key economic metrics, including unemployment, perceptions of standards of living, confidence in the economy, and optimism about spending. So we got bigger houses, bigger cars, better cars, more money, more things, but we are still depressed. Interestingly, these declines in well-being are largely due to well-being declines among certain groups, like Democrats. The Democratic Party that we thought was for black folks and poor people is falling apart, and now they're trying to, and the truth of what they are is being revealed. They have separated themselves, and they are an elite group of upper echelon blacks who never intended to do anything for the poor. They intended to get their part of this American dream and share it with their family members, walking in the same footsteps as whites did to us. So the poor, you are left out in the cold and so gullible that you're looking to someone that you can cling on to and say, oh yeah, I'm with him. He a Democrat. Interestingly, these declines in well-being are largely due to well-being declines among certain groups. Democrats, the well-beings have declined. Women, their well-being has declined. Women are taking more antidepressants. More are equal to men. Minorities and lower income people. This brought down the overall scores for all Americans. Whatever your politics, one thing is clear, says Witter. 2017 was an unquestionably psychologically tumultuous year for us, and is manifested in markedly lower well-being. Americans are highly depressed. I caution us to look into the chemicals that we are taking into our bodies, the amount of time we entertain ourselves with foolishness, how we communicate with each other in honesty, and how we see our inner self. I hope that there's something of value that was learned from this today. I want to close with something from Proverbs 3:13 through 18 of the King James Version of the Bible, and then we are going to close. This is the New International Version. It said, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better return than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. What is the her? The her is the understanding and the wisdom. Long life is in her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. Get the understanding, and everything else, God willing, will fall into place. We are chasing the wrong things, and even the very elect of God are becoming depressed because of achieving the things that we have chased and realizing that there is no satisfaction in those things. Word for today: poison food, poison water, poison soul. This has been part one of Know the Time. And please stay tuned with us and share this information if you find that it is beneficial. And I pray that we begin to listen more. We are beginning to begin a new school year. And part two will be something that someone shared with me today about the school system and how government is interfering with the school system and spying on our children and putting them in a category that increases the what is it called? School to prison pipeline or the street to prison pipeline. This is all by design on a high level, and the level is too high for me to discuss. So I put the information out there that's out there, and we share this information with each other. I thank you for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir of the 19 Report, Manning, South Carolina. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook Live. I don't know whether it went through or not, but I'm hoping that it did. And I thank you for tuning in on YouTube. I know that didn't go through. So I'll be uploading the finished product very soon. Thank you again for tuning in.